Right, so we're listening to the remarks made by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to the all-party meeting via video conference, which ended just a short while ago. Remember, a large number of parties and party leaders attended that video conference, and the Prime Minister said that a presentation was made to the attending leaders, and the Defence Minister and Foreign Minister both addressed the various party leaders. If I can sum up the operative part of Prime Minister's speech, he said that there has been no intrusion into Indian territory, point number one. Point number two, no post has been captured either. And he says that the Indian soldiers taught the adversary a lesson, and that he says he is aware of the sentiments of the people and political parties in the country today as we speak, and that they are not only angry but agitated as well, and that the same sentiment was conveyed to him by many a member attending that all-party meeting. And he says there is a clamor for retaliation, and that he says the Indian Army and Indian forces are prepared to meet any eventuality, and that India has a capability to deter the enemy, and the patrolling capacity has increased because of new infrastructure, especially along the line of actual control that separates India from Tibet and other parts of the neighborhood. So clearly, the combative presentation by Prime Minister, and we'll get you all the latest going forward. You're watching Newsnight here on DD News and DD India. First up, the headlines. Prime Minister Modi chairs an all-party meeting via video conference on the situation along the India-China border, says no Indian post is in control of other nations. The Prime Minister begins meet by paying his respects to the martyrs. Indian Air Force Chief Air Chief Marshal R.K.S. Bhadauria reviews operational preparedness in Leh and Srinagar. He was on a two-day visit to the forward areas. Last rites of soldiers martyred in Ladakh performed in their hometowns. Large crowds thronged the venues to bid a tearful farewell to the brave hearts. Elections held for 19 Rajya Sabha seats in 8 states. In Madhya Pradesh, Jyotiraditya Scindia of the BJP and Digvijay Singh of the Congress party win. In Rajasthan, the Congress wins 2 seats while the BJP wins 1 seat. Prime Minister Modi reviews development projects in Varanasi, discusses about effective management of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Prime Minister addresses the birth centenary celebration of Acharya Sri Mahapragya, praises the spiritual leader for following the path of non-violence, calls himself fortunate for getting to meet the Acharya in person. A major breakthrough for security forces in Jammu and Kashmir. 8 terrorists killed in the 24 hours in southern Kashmir. The Supreme Court reiterates that migrant workers must be sent home at the earliest. The court tells the federal and provincial governments to comply with its 9th June order in the matter. And India's recovery rate from COVID-19 disease stands at 53.79%. The death toll worldwide climbs to more than 4.54 lakh. Right, so Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired an all-party meeting on the situation obtaining at India's border with China in Ladakh. You just heard his concluding remarks. These are the images from that very all-party meeting. Now, as you can see, the meeting took place via a video conference. It began at 5 this evening with the Prime Minister leading all those participating in paying tributes to the martyrs. Some cabinet ministers, including Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar, briefed those at the meeting about the situation at the line of actual control. Now, leaders of many parties attended this meeting. They included Congress President leader Sonia Gandhi, NCP leader Sharad Pawar and Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray, among others. Now, the meeting assumes significance in the wake of the recent violent face-off between Indian and Chinese troops in the Galwan Valley in eastern Ladakh. 20 soldiers of the Indian Army were martyred in the clash. All right, let me bring in my guests at this point in time to help you make sense of it all. We'll have a galaxy of personalities joining us, but let me first go across to Prafulla Ketkar, the editor of Organizer, which is a publication affiliated to the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. Mr. Ketkar, thank you for joining us on Newsnet. Appreciate it. First up, your thoughts on that rather combative speech by Prime Minister Modi. He was categorical, combative, firm, resolute. I can go on and on, but your take on the operative or the objective part from the Prime Minister's remarks there.
See, this briefing is very critical. There was a demand for such all-party meet, and the way Prime Minister briefed and in fact echoed the sentiments of the people.
Right.
As far as the the sentiments related to martyred soldiers and the situation on the border, but at the same time, the way he has shown confidence in our armed forces and their ability to fight for each and every inch of the land, that clearly shows that And the good part is, despite some efforts of politicking by Congress or some dissenting voices by CPM, by and large, there was a consensus and the confidence that was shown by all political parties in the government and the armed forces. And this strong resolve to stand behind all the actions taken by the government. We are a democracy. And because of democratic setup, the political leadership takes the final call when it comes to such sensitive issues related to border management and use of armed forces. So in that context, I feel as a democratic process, this is very critical. Of course, intelligence agencies and armed forces have been taking their own actions and they have autonomy to take a call, but within the framework of the decision taken by the political leadership. So uprising the nation and the opposition becomes critical part of this process.
Absolutely. Prafulla Ketkar, I want to pause and bring our viewers up to speed once again with the key points made by Prime Minister Modi in that remark of his just a short while ago. And if I can cite what Prime Minister Modi said, neither has anyone intruded into our territory nor took over any post. Point number one. Point number two, our forces are doing what they have to do to protect the country, whether it is deployment, action or counter-action. That's point number two. And point number three, India's patrolling capacity has increased due to newly built infrastructure, especially along the line of actual control. And he also went on to say that he realizes and appreciates the sentiment of the nation and its people. He says people are agitated, and the same sentiment was expressed to him and conveyed to him in that all-party meeting by various leaders. And he says India has the capacity and the capability to deter any enemy action. So, in hindsight, Prafulla Ketkar, India has a range of options before it: political, diplomatic, military, economic. Give our viewers a sense of what India may want to do in the near future to give a befitting response to the Chinese miscalculation, if I can put it that way.
See, as it is clear from what happened in Galwan or surrounding areas, China has a problem with India, developing its infrastructure in this area. Till now, we took a approach that we kept these areas to some extent underdeveloped. But now 61 roads and even the Galwan bridge project is on the verge of completion.
Right.
So it's a totally different kind of approach. And despite all these, issues related to incursion, we are continuing with the, infrastructural development approach. So we must continue with that, and that is the best way to go about it, because we have every sovereign right to develop infrastructure on our side of LAC. That's what we are doing. Secondly, because the LAC is not defined, we have a peace and tranquility agreement with China.
Right.
So generally, we don't hear, kind of news related to firing that we read from the line of control side, LOC side with Pakistan. Both sides abstain, and both sides have at least on paper said that they would like to resolve all these issues through dialogue and discussion. Hopefully, but what we have heard from the recent incidents, that the 6th June, despite the 6th June dialogue in Galwan thing, China tried to create a temporary, try to erect some kind of temporary tent kind of thing,
Right.
which we objected, and that led to this kind of situation. So we must stand by our forces. Our forces have every right to defend our borders and our land. We should continue with that. People's sentiments are there, and there will be call for economic boycott. And if what we are getting from Chinese side and Chinese media, it is really pinching China very hard. China is completely encircled on Taiwan issue, South China Sea, Hong Kong, on all fronts. So we should continue to mount our pressure diplomatically through international organizations while holding our land, every inch.
Right. You've raised a number of valid points there, Prafulla Ketkar. Let me take you back a couple of days. I want to quote what Prime Minister Modi said 2 days ago. He said, India wants peace, India is for peace, but if provoked, India will not shy away from giving a befitting response. On the same day, we heard the Indian Foreign Minister Subrahmanyam Jaishankar tell his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi that this development will have a serious impact on ties, on bilateral ties. And this morning, we heard another political leader from the government and the party saying that China has lost the trust of 1.3 crore Indians. Now, given the situation and the atmosphere obtaining today as we speak, where is the India-China relationship headed forward in the next few days, weeks, or even months?
It is really unfortunate that, this year we are, actually celebrating 70 years of our ties, the formal diplomatic relationship. And we always adhere to, what we said and what we acted in terms of recognizing China's sovereignty or unity and integrity. Unfortunately, China never respected that, whether it comes to Gilgit-Baltistan or Article 370 or, this entire concept of Belt and Road Initiative, BRI,
Right.
or China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. All these actually, completely change the ground rules of diplomacy. Now India has started giving a befitting reply, and China is somewhere perturbed
Right.
because of the same. We will see, because China is getting isolated globally. Chinese regime, the CCP dictatorial regime of Chinese Communist Party is being questioned within China. China, thanks to COVID-19 scenario, it's a second wave now in China, and the way it is being handled, many people in China itself, they are questioning. 11 provinces are facing flood there.
Right.
We all know what is the situation of human rights in Hong Kong. Taiwan every day is making noises about Chinese, intrusion in their airspace. Philippines is questioning Chinese posturing in South China Sea.
Indeed.
So on this background, there will be pressures mounting from China, and belligerent China perhaps will act more on unexpected lines. So we should be ready for everything while expecting peace on the border.
Absolutely. On that note, Prafulla Ketkar, thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Right. Let me quickly bring in my other guests in this discussion. Joining us shortly would be two very eminent guests. Ambassador G. Parthasarathy, former Indian ambassador to Cyprus, Myanmar, Australia and Pakistan, and also Lieutenant General Syed Atta Hasnain. He is a former General Officer commanding of the 15 Corps. Now, the 15 Corps is an infantry field formation of the Indian Army headquartered in Srinagar and responsible for military operations in the Kashmir Valley. General Hasnain, thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight. First up, straight away off the bat, a very combative speech there by Prime Minister Modi. In your estimation, is the time for talks over, and that the time is ripe to actually to be seen to be doing something to deter enemy action going forward?
Thank you. Very relevant questions, no doubt. And hearing the Prime Minister, and before that, viewing the various reports coming in of the all-party meeting, it's very inspiring to say that there seems to be complete political consensus, which is what is the need of the hour at this time in this very, very provocative situation which has developed on the LAC. The Prime Minister was very, very clear. He's primarily directed the nation, informed the nation that all measures to secure the line of actual control are in place, that our infrastructure development will continue at even a greater renewed pace, that we have not lost any territory, no post of ours has been lost, and that India will continue to do everything possible to empower its army, its armed forces, and that the security of the country appears guaranteed. All this is a very, very appropriate messages at the right time, and the messaging which is very clear is that we have the capability. We are ramping it up even further. We have developed our infrastructure to the right level, and it is going to be a continuous process to keep improving that. So, I think a very, very appropriate message at this time. He has not ruled out any option. He very clearly said that all options are virtually open. Not in so many words, but that's what is conveyed, is virtually open. The diplomatic sphere is always open. What has definitely been compromised is the trust that existed between China and India, which is hugely compromised, no doubt. Absolutely. But military option is not the only option to restore stability or restore order, etc., since the territory has not been lost, as per the Prime Minister very clearly, who has stated that. There's an economic option which is already being played out. And I think in the middle of all this, a very strong psychological message needs to go out to China that India cannot be bullied, that India can hold its own. It's an important middle power in the Committee of Nations, and that it cannot be bullied in this manner and will always rise to defend its interests militarily, diplomatically, politically, or economically.
Fair point. I want to take that same question across to Ambassador Parthasarathy. Ambassador Parthasarathy, welcome to DD News and DD India. Your thoughts on the Prime Minister's speech there to the all-party meeting. If I can again recap for the benefit of viewers who might be joining us right now. The Prime Minister said, and I am paraphrasing him here, there's been no intrusion into Indian territory. No post has been captured either. India has the capability to deter the enemy. India's patrolling capacity has increased, especially due to new infrastructure along the line of actual control, and that the Indian soldiers, the martyrs, taught the adversary a lesson. So, in your estimation, Ambassador Parthasarathy, should India must not only act but also seem to be acting going forward?
Look, it depends on how you say acting. I don't necessarily, I agree with General Asnain. I think, like him, I've been in the army and I've seen combat. I think we should leave this to be settled after we hold detailed talks with them, which we are doing. The military is talking, others are talking. Now, there's the whole question as to which finger they went to or didn't. Did they intrude across the border into Indian territory, or have they just infiltrated and appeared at one point, which does not amount to an intrusion? It's a technicality. So I would take the Prime Minister at his word, because the Prime Minister of India is a person, whoever is the Prime Minister, is the Prime Minister on an issue of the country's security. I will never doubt the word of. My own feeling is that the Chinese have pushed us to see how far they can go. The limits have been very clearly made to them, and that, yeah, you can, an intrusion by you would not be accepted. And I think we should leave it at that, because the other point I want to make is, look, conflicts, if you take of this nature, or this is not really a conflict, it's a move of military from the other side into areas they were not occupying earlier. And you have generally a zone in between. So we've dealt with it. We had the unfortunate thing about our officers visiting a place that, which was indicated to them they could visit the previous day in the talks between the lieutenant generals, and something went wrong there. And that angers me, makes me very angry, and I think we should more seriously look into it. But they're right as matters stand. They have not sort of invaded us in any manner or form. They have appeared at a place where they have always been, and we will take it from there.
Right.
Because you can't be splitting hairs about what the Prime Minister says. He is the Prime Minister, after having been briefed by the chiefs of staff, by the CDS and the senior army officers, has set the position as it exists technically. And you take it as that, because you start, as I said, splitting hairs on matters like that. We have far more serious issues to deal with.
True.
Frankly, I am more concerned with the pace with which China has gone ahead. And let me be very frank, I think we still have some way to go. And I don't mind saying it. But we are giving it a try. Only yesterday, we've heard about new acquisitions from Russia. So on a situation like this, give people a chance to function and let them do what they do. Now, as I said, General Asnain and I are very good friends, and we don't disagree, because we're both chancellors of universities in Jammu and Kashmir. And we've known each other. So I think take Atta Hasnain at his word, and you take me, and both of us have seen combat. This is against China. I have seen it against Pakistan in 1965. So we know what this is about. You do have all sorts of complications when a war situation arises. You walk into places where you should not have been and luckily come back. But that happens. But here I think the Prime Minister has said it is not an invasion, and I think we should take him at his word.
All right.
And I want to tell you one thing. When people retire, some people leave in an unhappy phase of mind. Others are politically inclined. But I think you will find that neither Atta Hasnain nor I are either. We are very happy with our
Fair point. Point well taken, Ambassador.
So I take what the Prime Minister said. Let us
Sure.
wait. But as I said, I still feel after having seen all this, we have a long way to go to really get our acquisitions and
All
other
right,
equipment.
fair point. Ambassador Parthasarathy and General Hasnain, do stay on. We have lots more to discuss on Newsnight, but time for a very short break here on DD News and DD India. Don't go anywhere.
इनमें से एक है आपका डिटर्जेंट और एक फेना, तो कौन सा बेहतर है? ये है ज्यादा सफेद फेना।
100 में से 70 लोगों ने फेना सुपर वॉश को अपने डिटर्जेंट से बेहतर पाया है।
अब आप भी लीजिए फेना सफेदी चैलेंज और खुद कहना फेना ही लेना।
फेना कपड़ों से हटाए कीटाणु, इंडिया में बना गर्व के साथ।
हमारा डेजर्ट आ गया पर हमारी चैंपियन नहीं आई अब तक।
बिल भरने के पहले तो आएगी ना।
सो गर्ल्स, क्या हो रहा है? बिल हो रहा है। चल अपना कार्ड दे। पिन दे।
आरबीआई कहता है अपना पिन, ओटीपी, सीवीवी या इंटरनेट बैंकिंग पासवर्ड किसी को ना दे। ऑनलाइन बैंकिंग सिर्फ अपने ही कंप्यूटर, मोबाइल और सिक्योर नेटवर्क से करें। हाँ, ये खाने की चैंपियनशिप थी क्या? आरबीआई कहता है जानकार बनिए, सतर्क रहिए।
भ्रामरी प्राणायाम। ध्यान की किसी भी आरामदायक स्थिति में बैठ जाएं, आंखें बंद करें। तर्जनी उंगलियों को अपनी आंखों पर तथा अनामिका और कनिष्ठिका उंगलियों को होठों पर रखें। फिर कानों को अंगूठों से बंद कर लें। ये षणमुखी मुद्रा कहलाती है। दोनों नासिका छिद्रों से गहरा श्वास लें। नियंत्रित तरीके से गहरी और भंवरे की गुंजन जैसी ध्वनि के साथ श्वास बाहर छोड़ें। एक बार पुनः दोहराएं।
योग हर परिस्थिति में हर जीवन को समृद्ध कर रहा है।
Welcome back. Now, since we are talking about the India-China face-off in Ladakh, let me bring you up to date on the timeline of events that took place in the last 4 days. Let's start with the 15th of June, Monday. That's the day when a violent face-off took place in Galwan Valley in Ladakh. Let's move to the next, that's Tuesday, 16th June. The Indian Foreign Ministry says both sides suffered casualties, and also that the Indian Army says 20 Indian soldiers died in that face-off in Ladakh. Let's move on to 17th June. Prime Minister Modi addresses the chief ministers on the COVID-19 Unlock 1.0. And he says the supreme sacrifice by the soldiers will not go in vain. And moving on to the other piece of information happening also on 17th June, the PM says India wants peace, but if compelled, will respond resolutely. And moving on to another piece of information, Indian Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar speaks to his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi on the 17th of June to discuss the face-off in Galwan Valley. And he protests against the violent face-off in Ladakh with his Chinese counterpart, that's Wang Yi. And Jaishankar says the Chinese side took premeditated action to against the Indian soldiers in Galwan Valley. The minister also says the intent was to change the facts on the ground and to create new facts and to present it as a fait accompli going forward. And he says the development will have a serious impact on ties with India. Now, that was the events of 17th June, and the US, the United Nations and the European Union all came out with separate statements on the India-China face-off on the 17th of June. Let's move to 18th June, that's yesterday. Foreign Ministry spokesperson dismisses a Chinese claim on Galwan Valley as exaggerated and untenable. Now, moving on to the Chinese Communist Party's publication Global Times, which says China will not budge on the border issue. That's the Chinese publication Global Times. Meanwhile, Minister Jaishankar refused Congress Party's claims on sending unarmed soldiers to combat those Chinese troops in Galwan Valley. And the Foreign Ministry spokesperson says no Indian soldier is missing in Ladakh. So that was the clarification put out by the spokesperson, who also says that the Minister Jaishankar will take part in the RIC, Russia, India, China Foreign Ministers trilateral meeting to take place on 23rd June. Meanwhile, Germany's foreign minister, Japan's foreign ministry all speak on the India-China face-off as well. So that was the developments over the last 4 days. Now, at this point in time, I want to again go back to our guests and continue the discussion. And maybe if I can, bring in a report filed by my colleague Amritpal Singh, who is in Ladakh as we speak. I want to bring up that report for you in just a bit. But let's go back to the discussion with Ambassador Parthasarathy and General Hassanein. Ambassador Parthasarathy, India has a range of options: diplomatic, political, military, economic. In your estimation, should India be willing to employ all those levers going forward in a bid to convey a strong message to China in the face of what's happened in Galwan Valley?
I'm afraid that's not the way things go normally, because what you will have is very hard bargaining and talks about what each side wants. Then you will arrive at what you have agreed to and not agreed to, and then you go forward from there. Force is a last resort, because remember one thing: a lot of people are working on the Chinese, and a lot of people are squeezing us. Nobody in the world wants two of the most populous countries in the world, both possessing nuclear weapons, to be at war. So it's very easy for those who have never participated in a war and talk with bravado, ki hum ye dikha denge, wo dikha denge, sort of thing. War is a very serious matter. So I think, as I see it, there are going to be prolonged negotiations. I would like more clarity on what went wrong, which led to 11 of our soldiers getting killed. Because what the External Affairs Minister said is right. The general thing is that when you're going for a discussion to which you're invited to another man's place, you're not carrying lethal weapons with you. So I think let us see how it goes. And I want to say one thing. The person who desperately wants peace is President Putin and Sergei Lavrov, his foreign minister. It is good the three of them will meet, because I think none of the three wish each other badly. And we will have to find some imaginative way out. After all, the Chinese are claiming that there are certain points which they were coming into earlier.
Right.
I'm not sure if there was an official demarcation of the border. Incidentally, in 1962, we had one Indian regiment out there which fought very hard and bravely. I think it was the Sikhs. So I think let us move in an objective manner.
Okay.
Yes, there was there were tensions. Yes, we did find well-armed Chinese soldiers in positions which we really hadn't seen them earlier. That has been addressed to a certain extent, and we will have to take it from here how it goes. The important point is that the military officers are talking to each other, the foreign ministers are talking to each other. So I think the idea is not, you can't brush these things under the carpet, but the idea is to work out something available, acceptable to both sides.
Right.
And that takes time. So I can't see, tomorrow morning someone coming and saying, hooray, something's happened.
All right.
Negotiations of this type take days and sometimes weeks. And General Hassanein will know much better than I on that.
Right. General Hassanein, there's a lot of talk about template and tactic. Now, by template, we are referring to the 1988 agreement between India and China. Some people say the template needs to change. Also, the tactic needs to change going forward. in light of what's happened in Galwan Valley. Your thoughts as a military person on the discussion on the best way forward to deal with such crises going forward as well.
See, all this while, we have been, as you correctly say, working on certain formats, established practices, rules of engagement. But over a period of time, a certain degree of trust develops. And especially when there has not been a shot fired anywhere, there have been an odd exchange between patrols, but these exchanges or face-offs have been more in the form of flag drills and things of that nature, more benign. So as a result, this part of the border, the line of actual control with differing perceptions of each other, has seen a very different methodology of working with each other. That entire thing has got upset. There is no doubt about it. And I entirely agree with Mr. Parthasarathi when he says, when Ambassador Parthasarathi, when he says that there have to be now new ways of moving forward. That trust has been completely demolished. And the Prime Minister very correctly says that our capability to patrol will now be of a higher order because we have a better infrastructure. Definitely we have got many more troops who have moved in there. Now, if you are planning to speak to the Chinese, which we are anyway speaking at different levels, militarily, on the diplomatic side also, you can't speak from a position of weakness. That is very clear. There are another 3 to 4 months left in this campaigning season. Right. We have moved enough troops into that area. They are under deployment. Some of them are acclimatizing in certain areas. All other parts of the border with China in Arunachal, Sikkim or the central sector have also been manned. Those corps are all in position. So we are militarily in a position where there can be no compromises at all. And the patrolling now has to be undertaken on a slightly different format, which the military commanders know very well. After all, they are experienced in doing this on the LOC at all times, where things keep changing from moment to moment. So I think we are going forward. There will be a change in rules of engagement, or specifically on specific practices and briefings to troops will be there. At the same time, there will be cautionaries. It is not as if we are arming our troops all of a sudden to go and start escalating a situation there. We have to be very careful of it also. No one wants a war here. As very correctly Ambassador Parthasarathi said some time back, that no one wants a war. The whole world is observing this situation. I think the very correct thing that the Foreign Minister is doing, External Affairs Minister is doing, by continuing his engagement on the 23rd of June, for going for the RIC Foreign Affairs meeting, Foreign Ministers meeting, that will show to the world that India is confident. It's not that we are sulking all of a sudden because of what has happened there. But we are confident and we can take this thing forward. We are a large nation, we are a middle power. We know how to deal with our national security. And I think these are the kind of messages which will have to go forward.
Absolutely. General Hassanein and Ambassador Parthasarathi, do stay on. I want to share another piece of information with our viewers at this point in time. Now, the leaders of the political parties hailed the bravery displayed by the armed forces in Ladakh. They reposed faith in the leadership of the Prime Minister in this hour of need and express commitment to stand united with the government. They also share their thoughts and ideas on dealing with the situation. Now, West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee said that her party stands strongly in solidarity with the government. Meanwhile, Nitish Kumar, Bihar's Chief Minister, said there should be no difference among the leaders and parties should not allow any disunity which could be exploited by other nations. Meanwhile, Chirag Paswan said that the country feels safe under the leadership of the Prime Minister. Moving on to Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray, he said and lauded the Prime Minister, saying that the entire country is one and one with the Prime Minister. And Congress President Sonia Gandhi in turn said the leaders are still in the dark about the details, but she questioned the government about intelligence reports and other related matters. Now, NCP Chief Sharad Pawar stressed that issues of whether soldiers carried arms or not are decided by international agreements and the political parties need to respect sensitivities involved in such matters. Moving on to Conrad Sangma, who said that the Prime Minister has been working on infrastructure in the Northeast and that must go on. Moving on to BSP Chief Mayawati, she says this is not the time for politics and that she firmly stands behind the Prime Minister on whatever decisions he might take. Moving on to Tamil Nadu's M.K. Stalin, who welcomed the recent statement by the Prime Minister on the issue. All right, if I can go back to my guests, Ambassador Parthasarathy and General Hasnain. Ambassador Parthasarathy, talking about this all-party meeting now, it conveyed the sense of the mood of the nation, as it were, and of an attempt to forge a national consensus among all political parties. And we got a sense from the statements made by those various political leaders. In your estimation, it augurs well for India going forward in dealing with these crises of such nature?
Absolutely. You know, I am glad our good parliamentary traditions are standing up. At the Bangladesh conflict, I recall Mr. Vajpayee describing Indira Gandhi as Durga. And during the Kargil conflict and the parliament attack, Sonia Gandhi, the first thing she did was to go to the Prime Minister's office and find out if he was all right. And I recall Mr. Vajpayee telling me, कि देश की स्थिति अच्छी है अब, meaning the condition of the country is fine,
right?
Because on hours of crisis, our people get together. I think that's a good Indian trait, and I think the way the leaders of all parties have behaved is in accordance with our highest parliamentary traditions. We may have our political fights, but once the military is on the field facing the foreigner, we unite. We may argue after it. That's a different matter.
Right.
During a conflict, during a hard situation, when the parliament of a country stands united, it's a message to the world that the whole country stands united behind whatever the government is doing.
Right. I'll give General Hasnain the last word. General Hasnain, your thoughts on the way forward in dealing with this immediate crisis at hand. If you can give our viewers a sense of what might be the thinking in government circles and that how receptive would the government be to the sentiments expressed in that all-party meeting where the Prime Minister said that he is aware of the sentiments of the people at large who are not only angry but agitated at what China did in Galwan Valley.
You see, the most important thing coming out of the statements of the political parties and their leaderships is something similar to what happened also in 1994. Ambassador Parthasarathy gave some wonderful examples of 1971, 1999, 2001 of the parliament attack. I recall also 1994, the parliamentary resolution, when India was under severe stress and attack from the international community, virtually at the behest of being done at the behest of Pakistan. And the parliament came together, joint resolution was passed on 22nd of February 94, conveying to the world that the whole of Jammu and Kashmir belonged to India. I think that was a landmark date actually in the history of Indian parliamentary democracy. And that's exactly what is being repeated at the moment here, showing total consensus. That is the most important thing which is being communicated here, which means that the government doesn't have to look back, does not have to look sideways for all kinds of attacks on it. It can go ahead and carry out its strategizing and make sure that the trust that it reposes in the armed forces of India, that continues and give them all the backing, all the necessary diplomatic, political, economic backing which is required to meet this kind of a situation. That is all there. And this strengthening of the hands of the government comes because of a political consensus of this type. I'm so glad that this is on display. What is very important is that the street view of trying to force the government to immediately adopt proactive measures, military measures on the line of actual control to go across and do adventurous things, all that kind of pressure will hopefully not build up at all. And the government will be left to take its decisions, which will be the correct decisions.
Absolutely. On that note, General Hasnain and Ambassador Parthasarathy, thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Right, but before we move to other news, let's take a look at this ground report filed by my colleague Amritpal Singh, who is in Leh in Ladakh as we speak.
Efforts are on to defuse the situation and resolve the deadlock that has persisted for nearly 6 weeks at various points along the line of actual control here in eastern Ladakh. Indian Air Force Chief Air Chief Marshal R.K.S. Bhaduria was here in Leh and later in Srinagar to review the operational preparedness of the Indian Air Force. He visited and took review meetings on Wednesday and Thursday. Though no fresh military level talks took place between the two militaries, the PLA and the Indian Army on Friday, but on Thursday, Major General level talks took place. Many such rounds are expected to take place in the coming few days to see that the disengagement process, which was agreed upon at the Corps Commanders level meeting on the 6th of June, is carried forward, and the unfortunate Galwan violent incident does not cast its long shadow on the disengagement process. The Indian Army, meanwhile, is taking no chances and is stepping up the vigil. Here on the ground, we see a lot of troops movement and a lot of aircraft of the Indian Air Force, which include attack aircraft like the Sukhoi 30 MKI, the Apache attack helicopters, the transport Chinook helicopters, the Chetaks and the Cheetahs of the Indian Army flying around and stepping up the vigil. With cameraman Sumit Naudyal, Amritpal Singh, DD News, Ladakh.
All right, time for a very short break here on DD News and DD India. Don't go anywhere.
काश मैं महंगी टिकिया ले पाती। महंगी नहीं, फेना सुपर वॉश टिकिया आजमाइए। बेहतरीन झाग, रोज और चंदन, सुपर चमक।
महंगी टिकिया जैसी धुलाई फेना सुपर वॉश टिकिया में समाई।
फेना ही लेना।
फेना कपड़ों से हटाए कीटाणु, इंडिया में बना गर्व के साथ।
योग जीवन जीने का नियम और संयम, लेकिन योग हमें बांधता नहीं है, बल्कि हमें आजाद करता है, ताकि हम पूरी दुनिया में प्यार और शांति फैला सके। तो आए पूरी दुनिया में शांति और प्यार के मैसेज को फैलाने के लिए 21 जून अंतर्राष्ट्रीय योग दिवस से योग अभ्यास शुरू करें। योग करें, स्वस्थ रहें और खुश रहें।
पहला अक्षर रट लो तो वह से एक विद्वान होगा, पक्की होगी बुनियादें तो हाँ से हिंदुस्तान होगा। पहले करो शुरुआत करो, करो तो पक्की बात करो।
वंडर सीमेंट, एक परफेक्ट शुरुआत।
Welcome back. The last rites of soldiers martyred in Ladakh were performed in their respective hometowns. People thronged in large numbers to bid a tearful farewell to the brave hearts.
Thousands of people bid an emotional farewell to the Galwan brave hearts who made the ultimate sacrifice for the country. Massive crowd thronged to pay their last respects to Galwan martyrs when their mortal remains reached their respective villages in different parts of the country on Friday. These brave hearts were martyred in the violent face-off with Chinese troops in the Galwan Valley on June 15th-16th. In Bihar, a somber farewell was given to Galwan martyr Jai Kishore Singh. His last rites were performed with officials, family and locals present to pay tribute to the brave heart who made the ultimate sacrifice for the country. In West Bengal, the atmosphere was similarly somber when the mortal remains of martyr Rajesh Orao reached his native village in Birbhum district. His mortal remains were confined to flames with full military honors. A galaxy of leaders from across the political spectrum, district officials were present to pay their tributes to this brave heart. Our 21-gun salute was also given. In Odisha, the last rites of Sepoy Chandrakant Pradhan was performed at Kandamahal. Large number of people thronged to pay their last respect to the brave hearts. In Madhya Pradesh, mortal remains of Deepak Singh were consigned to flames with full honours in his village, Faranda in Rewa. Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan and State BJP President V.D. Sharma attended the last rites ceremony. Chauhan also met Singh's family's members and assured them all possible assistance. In Punjab, a solemn wreath-laying ceremony was held at Air Force Station Chandigarh to pay tribute to the martyrs Sipahi Gurtej Singh, Sipahi Gurbinder Singh and Sipahi Ankush, whose mortal remains were brought to Chandigarh from Leh by special military aircraft. Punjab Chief Minister Captain Amrinder Singh laid wreath to pay tributes to the martyrs. News Night Desk, DD India.
Right, moving on. In more news from India, in a major breakthrough for Indian security forces in Jammu and Kashmir, 8 more terrorists were killed in 2 separate encounters in Pulwama and Shopian. The forces launched a cordon and search operation at Meej in Pampore area of Pulwama in southern Kashmir on Thursday morning after receiving a specific information about the presence of certain terrorists there. The search operation turned into an encounter after the terrorists fired upon the search party. The Inspector General of Police of Kashmir congratulated the security forces for killing 102 terrorists in the Kashmir Valley so far this year.
Security forces achieved huge success in Jammu and Kashmir's Shofia and Avantipura. 8 terrorists were gunned down in both areas, out of which 5 were neutralized in Shofia and 3 in Avantipura. In a joint press conference, Jammu and Kashmir DGP Dilbag Singh said, on Thursday, security forces received intel of 3 terrorists hiding in Pampore area of Avantipura. Acting upon the information, they immediately carried out a search operation. The security forces got their first breakthrough at around 2 a.m. when they gunned down 1 terrorist in the Meej area of Pampore. It was then that the remaining terrorists took refuge in a nearby mosque, both of whom were killed. The Jammu and Kashmir DGP said that the forces ensured that sanctity of mosque was taken care of. The operation was conducted with the help of the mosque committee and locals. No arms or IED were fired during the operation.
The police and the forces have conducted this operation in an extremely professional way, and even the minutest loss, damage to the mosque have been prevented. It goes to the credit of our field commanders and our members of the force working on ground, and I express my happiness in people's satisfaction after the operation that this operation was conducted very, very professionally by the security forces, security team on ground.
GOC Chinar Corps Lieutenant General B.S. Raju said, this year 49 people were recruited in various terrorist organizations, out of which 27 have been killed. However, there has been massive decline in recruitment of youth in terrorist organizations. It has been possible through the joint efforts of the civil society, family and security forces. Lieutenant General Raju thanked the people of Kashmir for their faith and support, which made the operation a success.
I would also compliment the Awam of Kashmir because they are believing in peace, and it is their belief in peace which is leading to these successful operations. And I'm sure at the end of the next few months, we will be able to take this peace process forward and ensure that normalcy is brought into the environment.
Security forces in Jammu and Kashmir are continuing to work towards eradicating terrorism from the valley. Around 102 terrorists have been killed this year, out of which 50 were from Hizbul Mujahideen, 20 from Lashkar-e-Taiba, 20 from Jaish-e-Mohammed and some from other small separatist groups. Many commanders of these terrorist organizations have been killed in operations conducted by the security forces. News Night Desk, DD India, DD News.
Now, elections have been held for 19 Rajya Sabha seats in 8 states. In Madhya Pradesh, Jyotiraditya Scindia of the BJP and Digvijay Singh of the Congress party have won. In Rajasthan, the Congress won 2 seats, while the BJP won 1 seat. 4 candidates from Karnataka and 1 from Arunachal Pradesh were elected unopposed. Elections were held for 19 Rajya Sabha seats spread over 8 states. Of the 19 seats, 4 each were in Andhra Pradesh and Gujarat, 3 each in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, 2 from Jharkhand, and 1 each from Manipur, Mizoram and Meghalaya. In Karnataka, where elections were held for 4 seats, all the candidates were declared elected unopposed. They are former Prime Minister H.D. Devegowda, Congress leader Mallikarjun Kharge, and BJP candidates Iranna Kadadi and Ashok Gasti. The BJP's Nabam Rebia was elected unopposed to the lone Rajya Sabha seat from Arunachal Pradesh. In Madhya Pradesh, the BJP has bagged 2 seats, with Jyotiraditya Scindia winning 56 votes and Sumer Singh Solanki winning 55 votes. The Congress party's Digvijay Singh has also won with 57 votes. In Rajasthan, the Congress has bagged 2 seats and the BJP won. K.C. Venugopal and Neeraj Danghi are the winners from the Congress party, while Rajendra Gehlot is the sole BJP winner.
ज्योतिरादित्य सिंधिया जी, दिग्विजय सिंह जी और सुमेर सिंह जी 3 कैंडिडेट जिनको सबसे ज़्यादा वोट मिले हैं। मध्य प्रदेश के लिए एक बहुत ही बड़ा ऐतिहासिक दिन है कि हमने शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से, और एक कोविड पॉजिटिव कैंडिडेट थे जो कुणाल चौधरी जी, उनका भी वोट करवाया, और पूरी जो भी प्रिकॉशंस थे, जो भी सावधानियां हमको लेनी थी, वो हमने बरती और चुनाव आयोग के निर्देशों के अनुसार उनको यहाँ पे वोट करवाने का अवसर हमने दिया।
जीत निश्चित थी, और जो भारतीय जनता पार्टी के हमारे वोट हैं 107, उससे ज़्यादा वोट हम लोगों को मिले। 56 सिंधिया जी को हैं, 55 सोलंकी जी को।
In Andhra Pradesh, YSR-CP candidates have won all the 4 seats of Rajya Sabha. YSR Congress Party candidates Pilli Subhash Chandra Bose, Mopi Devi Venkata Ramana, Parimal Nathwani and Ayodhya Rami Reddy of the YSR-CP have made it to the upper house from the state. In Meghalaya, for the sole Rajya Sabha seat, the ruling NPP candidate Dr. W.R. Karluki defeated Kennedy Kairim of the Congress party to make it to the upper house. NPP candidate got 39 votes, while the Congress candidate could manage to garner just 19 votes. 1 vote has been declared invalid in Meghalaya. In Jharkhand, BJP's Deepak Prakash and JMM's Shibu Soren have won the Rajya Sabha polls. Deepak Prakash got 30 votes, while JMM's Shibu Soren secured 31 votes. Congress candidate Shahzada Anwar could manage just 18 votes.
जो रिजल्ट आया है, इससे साफ जाहिर होता है कि झारखंड मुक्ति मोर्चा के लोगों ने कांग्रेस को धोखा दिया, और ये दोनों के इतिहास भी रहा है। कभी कांग्रेस जेएमएम को धोखा देता है, कभी जेएमएम कांग्रेस को धोखा देता है।
In Madhya Pradesh, all 206 legislators, including a Congress legislator who tested positive for COVID-19, cast their vote. DD India Bureau, New Delhi. Right, moving on, Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviewed via video conference the development works in Varanasi. He was given a presentation on the progress made on the Kashi Vishwanath temple complex using a video captured by a drone. Efforts made to combat the COVID-19 pandemic were also discussed. Public representatives of Varanasi, besides officials and ministers of the UP government, were present in the meeting. And reviewing the progress of the Kashi Vishwanath Dham project, the Prime Minister said all temples unearthed during the development of the Kashi Vishwanath temple complex should be protected and preserved. He told the officials concerned to take the help of experts for maintaining their historical and architectural legacy. He said carbon dating should be conducted so that the importance of these temples could be told to tourists and pilgrims. He also said the Kashi Vishwanath Trust should prepare a route map for the benefit of pilgrims. More than 100 projects with a financial outflow of 8,000 crore rupees is being undertaken in Varanasi. The projects pertain to creation of social and physical infrastructure such as hospitals, waterways, roads, and an international convention center called Rudraksh, built in collaboration with Japan. The Prime Minister told the officials to expedite the completion of development works within their respective timelines and also maintain the highest standards of quality. The Prime Minister said non-renewable energy should be used optimally for creation of next-generation infrastructure. He also told officials to install LED street lights in the Varanasi district. And Prime Minister Modi addressed the birth centenary celebration of Acharya Sri Mahapragya. Acharya Sri Mahapragya was the 10th head of Shwetambar Terapanth order of Jainism.
उनका ये मंत्र था, स्वस्थ व्यक्ति, स्वस्थ समाज, स्वस्थ अर्थव्यवस्था। आज की परिस्थिति में उनका ये मंत्र हम सबके लिए बहुत बड़ी प्रेरणा है। आज देश इसी मंत्र के साथ आत्मनिर्भर भारत के संकल्प के साथ आगे बढ़ रहा है। मुझे विश्वास है, जिस समाज और राष्ट्र का आदर्श हमारे ऋषियों, संत आत्माओं ने हमारे सामने रखा है, हमारा देश जल्द ही उस संकल्प को सिद्ध करेगा। आप सब उस सपने को साकार करेंगे।
The Prime Minister said Acharya Sri Mahapragya taught people the art of a depression-free lifestyle through yoga. He said the best tribute to the Acharya would be to practice what he taught on the occasion of the International Yoga Day on 21st June.
वो कहते थे, आत्मा मेरा ईश्वर है, आत्मा मेरा ईश्वर है, त्याग मेरी प्रार्थना है, मैत्री मेरी भक्ति है, संयम मेरी शक्ति है और अहिंसा मेरा धर्म है। इस जीवन शैली को उन्होंने खुद भी जिया और लाखों करोड़ों लोगों को भी सिखाया। योग के माध्यम से लाखों करोड़ों लोगों को उन्होंने डिप्रेशन फ्री लाइफ की कला सिखाई। ये भी एक सुखद संयोग है कि एक दिन बाद ही अंतर्राष्ट्रीय योग दिवस भी है। हमारे लिए ये भी एक अवसर होगा कि हम सब सुखी परिवार और समृद्ध राष्ट्र, जो महाप्रज्ञ जी के स्वप्न को साकार करने में हम सब मिलकर के योगदान दें।
Moving on 20th June, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will launch a rural public works scheme called the Garib Kalyan Rozgar Abhiyan to empower and provide livelihood to migrant workers and rural citizens. He will do it via a video conference. Now, the Abhiyan will be launched from Telihar village of Beldor block in Bihar's Khagaria district. Villages across 116 districts in 6 states will join this program through the Common Service Center and Krishi Vigyan Kendra. Now, this 125-day campaign, which will work in mission mode, will involve intensified and focused implementation of 25 different types of works to provide employment to migrant workers. But the focus will be on creating infrastructure in rural areas with a resource envelope of 50,000 crore rupees. Now, a total of 116 districts with more than 25,000 migrant workers across 6 states, namely Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Jharkhand and Odisha, have been chosen for this campaign. Now, these districts are estimated to cover about 2/3 of such migrant workers.
The 116 districts that we have identified have received large number of them, substantial number of them. And those 116 districts are spread over 6 states. Now, in those districts, both state and the central government have very meticulously mapped the skills of these people, skill sets, whether they are totally unskilled or partly skilled, largely those who have worked in construction and such areas in urban centers where they were, and so on. So they have reached, some mapping of their skill sets have been done. Now, what this Abhiyan, which the Prime Minister will be launching from the Khagaria district in Bihar on 20th, will do is now within 125 days. Nearly 25 schemes of the government are all going to be brought together. And within those 125 days, we shall reach saturation levels for each of those schemes.
Now, the condition of Delhi Health Minister Satyendra Jain, who tested positive for the coronavirus disease, has worsened. He was shifted to another hospital in the city for plasma therapy. Satyendra Jain had tweeted on Wednesday that he has tested positive for the coronavirus disease. He was admitted to the Rajiv Gandhi Super Speciality Hospital on Tuesday after he developed high fever and his oxygen saturation levels had dropped. Meanwhile, Home Minister Amit Shah has wished Delhi Health Minister Satyendra Jain a speedy recovery. He tweeted, and I quote here, "Praying for the speedy recovery of Shri Satyendra Jain, Health Minister of Delhi, who is battling with COVID-19 infection," unquote. And Delhi's Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijal also wished a speedy recovery to Satyendra Jain. This is his tweet, wishing for a speedy recovery of Satyendra Jain. Right, moving on, Home Minister Amit Shah has completed a series of meetings in regard to the COVID-19 situation in Delhi. A house-to-house health survey in 242 containment zones of Delhi was completed on Thursday. Now, in a huge relief to the people, the Home Minister set up a committee under a member of the Niti Aayog to fix rates charged by private hospitals in Delhi for isolation beds, ICUs without ventilator support and ICUs with ventilator support. The Home Minister directed to increase testing capacity and quick delivery of results in Delhi as well. Now, testing via rapid antigen testing methodology was started on Thursday. More than 7,000 people have been tested in 193 testing centers. Now, testing will continue with increased numbers in the coming days. And moving on, a memorandum of understanding was signed between the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs and the Small Industries Development Bank of India, or SIDBI, in New Delhi. Now, the MOU is for engaging SIDBI as the implementation agency for the Prime Minister's Street Vendors Atmanirbhar Nidhi, a special micro credit facility for street vendors. The MOU was signed by Sanjay Kumar, Joint Secretary on behalf of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, and Deputy Managing Director of SIDBI in the presence of Housing and Urban Affairs Minister Hardeep Singh Puri. Now, as per the terms of the MOU, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs will guide SIDBI in implementing this scheme. It will manage the credit guarantee to lending institutions through Credit Guarantee Fund Trust for micro and small enterprises.
कोविड-19 की वजह से जो भी लॉकडाउन हुए हैं उनमें स्ट्रीट वेंडर्स के बिजनेस पे काफ़ी एडवर्स इम्पैक्ट आया है और भारत सरकार भी इस बात से जागरूक है और उसको ध्यान में रखते हुए 1 जून को पीएम स्वनिधि, पीएम स्ट्रीट वेंडर्स आत्मनिर्भर निधि एक नई स्कीम शुरू की गई थी, जिसमें कि हर वेंडर को, शहरों में वेंडिंग करने वाले वेंडर को 10,000 रुपए तक का वर्किंग कैपिटल लोन दिया जाएगा। तो इस स्कीम को इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए हमने स्मॉल इंडस्ट्रियल डेवलपमेंट बैंक ऑफ इंडिया को चूज़ किया है, सिडबी। तो आज जो मेमोरेंडम ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग साइन हुआ है वो शहरी आवासन कार्य मंत्रालय और सिडबी के बीच में साइन हुआ है।
Now, in a series of false claims doing rounds on internet, One such post on social media claims that Ministry of Electronics and IT has prohibited some apps from being made available on app stores. The viral message also claims that such kind of order has been passed allegedly from the NIC. However, the claim is absolutely false and no such order of banning several apps has been passed by the NIC. And in another series of fake news, a message going viral on social media claiming special task force of not using some apps. Now, this viral message is nothing but another made-up news. This is completely false and inaccurate. And Prime Minister Modi shared a video message ahead of the International Yoga Day to be celebrated across the world on 21st June. He appealed people to observe social distancing norms while celebrating it. Take a look.
Friends, greetings on the 6th International Day of Yoga. I'm very happy to note the growing popularity of yoga in the last few years, and especially among the youth. We are marking the 6th Yoga Day in extraordinary times. Usually, Yoga Day is about public events, mass participation. This year, Yoga Day goes indoors. The theme of the year is Yoga at Home and Yoga with Family. Friends, the world is fighting a pandemic of monumental scale, but yoga provides multi-dimensional solutions to the multiple challenges COVID-19 has brought. Yoga gives you the opportunity to know your immune system better and put in the extra efforts where needed. Yoga has the potential to cater to mental, physical, and psychological challenges. It puts to test how one can live in challenging times. Friends, yoga offers something for everyone. It enables strong mind and healthy body. In the post-COVID era, the focus on preventive health care will get stronger, and that is why I'm confident that yoga will become even more popular. Friends, these are times of distancing. But do you know that yoga is what ends distance? It is said, Yujjate anen iti yoga. Yoga is that which joins or brings things together. Yoga ends various kinds of distance. Distance between our mind and body, which is the root cause of many problems. Distance between the life we have and the life we want to have. Distance between our expectations and reality, which can become a source of stress. Friends, the regular practice of yoga gives emotional strength and empathy. We begin to understand that others would be going through the same struggle as us. So, we become a shoulder of support for someone in need of it. Friends, the COVID-19 pandemic may have reduced our mobility, but it should not affect our enthusiasm towards yoga. People have been sharing innovative ways to practice yoga in times of the pandemic. They are also sharing how they will mark Yoga Day on the 21st. This is a great sign. This time, small is smart and small is good. Respecting the present situation, let us mark the 6th International Day of Yoga from our homes, with our family, and let us follow all norms of social distancing. Let us make yoga more popular and our planet healthier. Thank you.
And that's a wrap on Newsnight. But news continues here on DD India and DD News. You can catch all the latest updates on our social media, mobile and digital platforms. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.